Welcome back, Blubberbutts. Hope you're all doing well. And here we are, the Respawn recap, same time, same day, every single week. Me and Nick here break down the top esports and gaming stories and how wacky they were. Nicholas, are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready to roll for the typical recap?
Yes.
All right, let's get into it, folks. Stay tuned, gamers. Topic number one. So right off the rip here, Nick, you know, we've talked plenty about moms getting into esports and them actually fighting the battle for some of their kids out there. Never talked about a dad. We're talking about the New York Subliners for Call of Duty. COD fans, we've had plenty of stories this week, and it instantly makes you think of, you know, what if your parent ever stood in for you? I know you've heard the stories. If you guys haven't as well, it was actually Censor, a substitute player for the New York Subliners. His dad took to an Instagram post to trash talk his teammates, eventually deleted the post. Censor had to apologize. His papa had to apologize. And then, despite that not being enough, there have now been clips surfacing of Censor actually in scrims trash talking Temp. And then you add even further, I do apologize, I know you want your 2 cents, even further, the history between these two guys. You know, notoriously Call of Duty members can be pretty hot-headed, pretty tempered. I don't mind it. You know, it adds to the esport. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Imagine a parent stepping in for you. It can be kind of, it's tough to deal with, you know? I don't know.
Okay. Dude, like, honestly, my mom would probably do the same exact thing. Like,
that's right,
if I was Censor and, like, it was a mom instead. But that's just embarrassing. Like, I kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time, he kind of gets like a level of unprofessionalism with what he goes back with Temp with. So it's like, it's just like a bunch of stuff going on.
You try and understand it, because I know for a fact my mom would try and do the same thing if I ever gave her access to those. And his response actually made a lot of sense though, because he doesn't have his dad on a leash, you know? Yeah. So at what point can you not really blame the guy?
The entire way, I would blame the dad, like, for that specifically. Like, what is running through your mind to want to, like...
Nothing. You take the Instagram live or whatever.
That's freaking problem.
Or I guess it was actually, the thing is, he had to detail this picture. Like, he wrote out the entire description, tagged each and every individual player.
You.
Either way, you know, we try and see both sides of things. We understand how parents do get involved sometimes. Papa Censor made our week a bit better. You guys can have your own thoughts about it. Either way, we'll keep on seeing more and more parents enter esports. I hope they do it in less dramatic fashion. And next up, a story that probably makes a lot of viewers happy, because viewers love to hate on the good old Fort, and that's going to be a lot of people now leaving Fortnite, Nicholas. Last week, you talked about R6 blowing up. We've talked about Rocket League blowing up. Of course, a few games out there that have to come down eventually, Fortnite being one of them. And this is just an interesting thing because, you know, we've talked about esports and the competitive nature of Fortnite struggling, a lack of events, a lack of competitive integrity, a lack of rule set when it comes to Fortnite events as well. It's just not a great esport as of right now. And then we add in the fact Dr. Lupo this past week, Courage this last week, all coming out in their own way, kind of taking a step back from the esport. And then you added the TSM trio, Daquan, Hamlins, and Myth also taking breaks. So for the first time in a long time, we finally see creators and streamers and even some pros out there beyond these guys mentioned leaving Fortnite. It's like, where does it really go from here? You know, you have everyone leaving. Obviously, it's still going to be a big thing for a long, long time. But we now see this first signs of concern of people actually taking breaks.
It's headed in that direction, and I think it kind of has been for a little bit. Since like start of season 2?
I think it's a fair statement.
Right, or like around there. And I feel like that's got to be like a really scary position to be in as a streamer, to where you're so scared to play a different game and you feel like you're forced to play that one game simply because of viewership.
It's
but
so
then
tough.
You're like Courage, right? Courage is the one saying that, and he's already huge. Like, I feel like you can at least give it like a little trial time, just like, hey, I want to try a different game for a day. Do you guys like it? If not, then...
But this is where you and me struggle, because we've never been gigantic streamers. And I understand, I would like to think I understand completely if you're dropping 10, 15K viewers at Fortnite, and then all of a sudden you switch platforms to YouTube and you're playing Call of Duty for 4, maybe 5,000 viewers. Obviously, it's going to not only impact your own, like, you know, what you enjoy, but also impact your financials. Like, of course, you're going to choose to play a game time and time again that does well for you. So you understand both sides of it.
I do.
But it's certainly weird to now see we're finally reaching a point where viewership might not be big enough for these guys who do also switch platforms, and the game itself is also going in the different direction than it was. Right? It's still a gigantic game. Don't get mad at me, but it's not what it once was. So, can you see anyone else like going this way too? If you had to take a guess, or like. How can they bounce back? We'll end on that.
How can Fortnite bounce back?
Yeah, can they make a bounce?
Yeah, yes, but I don't really know how. It would just be like some amazing feature in the game that turns it around, because the game's path is kind of set how it is right now, and like not much is going to change from what Fortnite currently is. So it's like, I think just over time it's going to naturally die off as it already is, and then I think we're just going to see more streamers dropping down and down from it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious to see when we're going to see that breaking point with so many games on the rise, Fortnite on the downfall. Fortnite World Cup 2 will certainly be a resurgence. Will it be enough? Maybe we'll break it down next time. Nicky boy, we've been covering so much Valorant. We're trying to, get the videos out there. If there's anything that can actually help us grow a little bit, it's going to be some Valorant content. And we've definitely, I think we're both going to definitely be tag teaming this for the time coming and hope it actually does well. Now we're already seeing backlash. You covered the gameplay. We saw the trailer together as well. Give me your first thoughts, and we're now finally seeing, because I believe it was actually when it was first announced, I guess first brought up a couple weeks back, only hype. There was occasional people thinking like, why are you hyping up a game that's not here? Now we've only seen gameplay. Yeah. Literally like a one-round gameplay.
Enough to get an idea.
Enough for some. And
I
would say the backlash has only grown. The hype is still there, but the backlash is definitely gathered from other FPS genres, other pro players out there as well. So what's next is the giant question for Valorant.
Okay, so one of the biggest complaints that I saw, and I talked about this in another video that I put out, but one of the biggest complaints that I saw was actually just the graphics and like the whole aesthetic of the game, right?
Huge, yes.
Which is like, yes, I understand. Like, you don't have to like the art direction to the game. Riot has already said why they made the graphics that way, and it was just so like lower end PCs can run on it and stuff.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
which is a totally understandable reason, especially since it's gonna be a free to play game. So it's like, very accessible to everyone.
Also could be a great excuse.
I guess that's it. Hey, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, we
But also, I mean, a lot of people were complaining it's just like, oh, it's just CSGO but with abilities, so it's harder to follow, which is like true, but at the same time, it's like if you're interested in a game, you're gonna watch it, and it's not gonna be hard to follow because you're interested in the game and you already know what's going on in it. So this goes back to another point, actually, of like, will Valorant be that big as CSGO? I actually want to ask you that.
It's a stupid question to ask. We can do that kind of stuff because we're supposed to hype up these not false narratives, but misleading narratives, like the narratives that there's no answer to it right now.
Yeah.
So all we're gonna see and all we're gonna really cover from here on out is the new releases. What we get next, whether it's high quality, low quality, whether it's a partial trailer or a full trailer. There are gonna be an increase of hype, and there's gonna be an increase of backlash. And all we can do is really, kind of try and predict and wait. That's all we can really do, and then we'll be here trying to do our best to, both hype it up, hope it does well, but also critique it enough where, we're going to give it accurate thoughts. So we wish it the best of luck. As of right now, nobody knows. This is so dumb to me. Every time me and Zan podcast, if you guys want to check out the podcast, this is obviously me and Nick's thing, but we cover so many esports pros and players and content creators and streamers who say things
that they should not be saying.
Nick, I can't imagine sitting down, even if you and me played offline somewhere else,
like
internet cafe,
just busting these words out.
Yeah, and I just got in a Discord call and I was like, "Yo, Nick."
That scared the hell out of me. I was like, "There's no way he does this."
We were gonna bleep that, right? But if you guys do not know, another esports pro, this time a prominent FaZe member, Dubs, drops the hard N-word, thinking he's off stream. It was on someone else's stream. What makes the clip worse is the kid he's talking to literally freaks out in a typical gamer fashion. Dude, kid sounds 13 years old. I'm streaming. Yeah, it instantly makes it such like a typical gamer moment, and this has become the gamer word, and it's so sad.
Sadly.
How do we try and combat this, slow this, stop it? Is it even possible at this point?
No. People have been saying this for years. It's like, it's not exclusive to video games, I feel like, right? But
it's definitely beginning to feel that way, though, in nature.
Yes, that is. But I don't know. I feel like it carries over to a lot of other things too. Like just since before games, like before I started playing video games,
before games time, man.
Yeah,
it was backyard
I was always
football.
saying that word, man.
You definitely understand. Really, you got to understand where these kids come from. They're surrounded by other kids who probably say these words and don't know their meanings. So I understand that foot of it. But we see it so much, you would think that eventually these 14, 15-year-old kids would see videos of other 14 and 15-year-old pros and players in their seats saying these things and getting in trouble. And you'd think, at least now, with the more stories that come out, and these prominent ones too, hopefully all these kids are saying, oh, if Dubs can't say the N-word, maybe I can't either.
Yeah.
And I think that's our only hope, that we have more and more role models, more and more exposure of the bad things, so they understand what to and not to say.
But I would like to add that there is two sides of the argument that I've seen, at least. I'm not trying to say that I follow with these, but there's the people saying that it's just locker room talk. Like, people always say things that they should not say when no one's watching.
Yeah.
They think no one is watching. And on the other hand, you know, people saying he shouldn't be saying this ever. But it's like, we all, you know, break laws. We all speed at some point in our life. And
We all
I'm not
mess
saying
up.
that we should say these words. I'm definitely not trying
Yeah.
to say that. But you know what I'm trying to say. Is like,
Yeah.
I can see both sides to it. I can understand how it can happen.
End of the day, super, super young. Probably doesn't know exactly the extent of, you know, how bad
15?
it is. Young, teenager, so I know that for sure.
Young, okay.
Gonna make mistakes. Hopefully they learn from him. Hopefully he does too. Ooh, Nicky boy, our last story, man. God dang. This thing blowing up all over. Yeah, we actually have a former female CSGO pro. I think her last team was Keydstars. Also the former girlfriend of a professional current CSGO pro, that being Fur, and widely known in the Brazilian scene, and actually kind of added to the story. She has now been sentenced, and I say sentenced, she's going to appeal the case to 116 years for embezzlement and larceny. The report pretty much says that over 100 people had ordered items from her online shop. The goods were never delivered, and so is this like a classic Brazilian court case? Like, oh my gosh, if you apparently don't deliver goods, like let's say you open an eBay account and don't deliver 118 goods, you're sentenced to an equal amount of years in jail. It seems a bit extreme.
Do they go by the year?
Apparently, they can be sentenced to 106. No, don't, guys. You know, apparently you can be sentenced to 116 years, but the maximum sentence is actually 30 years. Either way, imagining a young lady or anyone in jail for 30 years is kind of, you know, something
Still quite a bit.
Something we don't see a lot in esports.
Yeah, literally like half or like a third of your life gone. But then you see 116, and I'm like,
That's the big. That's why I think it was actually a huge headline as well.
Right. But I'm confused as to what you mean when you say the max you can get is 30 years, but they're trying to sentence her for 116?
Yeah, you know, I guess I don't really know how the court of law works,
neither
but
do
I've just been reading a lot on this stuff, and apparently she cannot go for the full 116.
Okay. That seems fair.
Hopefully a week from now we don't find out she's been sentenced for the full 116, and I'm like, oh.
Well, I'm stupid. I understand what she did was wrong. Obviously, you know, there's no refuting that.
If she did it.
If she did it. But 116 years, even 30 years seems a bit like, that's half your life.
Dude,
almost.
the top comment I saw, if you know the iBuyPower situation, it was so funny. This guy was like, you know, this makes the iBuyPower ban feel like kind of okay.
Right? Compared to this?
Like it's not that bad.
Massive difference.
But very lastly as well, she is now actually trying to put the charges on her father and her ex-partner, who is not Fur. So that apparently they own the store, not her. We will keep you guys posted on that. We will see if Shay goes to jail in Brazil for 116 years. Okay, everybody, we hope you all enjoyed the Respawn recap. I don't know. No, we're good. We're gonna keep it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna keep going. I'm just saying,
Okay.
don't do that again.
I'll never do that again. Seriously, thank you all for the great support. We're only 3 episodes in, but we really do enjoy this kind of, you know, back and forth banter, talking about some hot topics and talking a bit, you know, just kind of behind the scenes, in front of the camera,
it's fun.
behind the scenes. In front of the camera. But we really hope you guys all enjoy. As per usual, any stories you want us to cover on here, feel free to drop a comment or a DM. We are always open to you. We are always wide open. We're spread wide open to you guys. Nick, anything else you want to say to him?
No. I mean, hey, no, I don't have anything to say.
All right, we'll catch you guys next week, same time, same day. Peace out, Blubber Buds.